My name's Mark Wells, and I'm going to talk a little bit about a group of FES flower essences today. 5 flower essences that I've used for many years in private practice for fears, but particularly to help develop confidence and inner security in people. So the first one I'd like to talk about is garlic. Now, garlic is used for fairly often known fears, something that is coming up. It might be a performance that you're going to do. It might be a meeting that you're a bit nervous about. Any particular thing where you're thinking that you're anticipating something and you're feeling that anxiety or nervousness and fears around it. Now, garlic's going to help allay those, to help settle those down. One of the examples I'm going to use today is for kids going back to school, how we can see it practically, these remedies practically employed. This for the child that's perhaps a week or two before they're going back to school, they may be talking more about school, worrying about it. Mum and dad sort of detect that there's some nervousness there about going back to school. Perhaps they even articulate that, or they may not. But garlic's going to help settle those nerves, so they can be prepared and ready to go back to school. But as I said, any particular situation where you're feeling a little bit nervous, butterflies in the stomach, all of those things, garlic's just going to take the edge off things. You'll still get enough stimulus and enough excitement to perform, but it'll just ease those nerves so you can perform at your best. And any other niggling fears that you might have, garlic's going to help settle those and you feel stronger within yourself. The next one I'd like to look at is St. John's wort. St. John's wort is a bit different. They're not as obvious, the fears, but the person has the signs and symptoms of being fearful, in the sense that they feel a sense of foreboding. They just feel a bit uneasy in themselves, a bit thin-skinned, and they don't know what it is generally, but they're just feeling a little bit ill at ease at the moment. Something's not quite right in themselves. And St. John's wort can help allay that nervousness, those little niggling fears or anxiety or apprehension. And as I said, it may not be about anything specific that they can identify, but they're feeling, those fears within. One of the ways, and as I said, they often don't know what it is, it can be very much on the subconscious level. And the way that may express itself in the person is that, they start to have quite disturbing dreams. If we use the example that we're running through here with the child going back to school, you might find that they're having some night terrors a week or two before going back to school. And that's identifying that something's niggling at them, and even though it is on that fairly unconscious level. So St. John's wort is going to ease those, and the person will feel better, feel stronger in themselves. They'll feel more right in themselves. Sometimes when people take St. John's wort, they can actually identify what it is that's been troubling them, or they've been worried about at a deeper level, but not necessarily. But most people after taking it will feel better. Often St. John's wort and garlic work very well together, particularly for long-term fear issues. Someone that's always had that sort of it's been a real difficult feeling to overcome. The next one I want to talk about is red clover. Red clover is a different type of fear. It's that fear that people feel when they're in groups. It's almost like they lose their whole identity to that group. Very sensitive to the mood of the group or the mob, if you like. And they'll be easily sort of lose their sense of self in a group. If we use our little example with a child going back to school, they might come back and the atmosphere on the first day back, the kids are louder, there's a lot of nervous energy being expressed, and that's just going to hit these kids in the face sort of thing. They will really feel that group mentality and get it, and feel uneasy because of it. Red clover is very settling for those type of people, adults or children. Helps ground them, help them feel stronger, and not lose themselves to the energy and the atmosphere. Another one I'd like to talk about around this subject of fears is violet, and we all know the signature of the plant. It's quite obvious. It's one of those plants that just sort of grows in the, you can smell it, but oh, there it is, hidden there. It just doesn't like too much direct sun. You could almost say it's a shy plant, and it's been given that name, the shrinking violet. That's, if you've got that type of person or that type of child, it's not going to change that personality, but it will help them just feel a bit more secure, confident within themselves. It's a quiet self-assurance that the violet can help bring out in that person. So it'll be classically in the example we were looking at, the child that's going to school. They grab on to mum or dad's pants or dress, whatever, hide behind them, and they're sort of shrinking back from the joining the crowd and joining the school. They may eventually get there, but this is going to help. Taking violet will help them have confidence, to be able to quietly in there have that quiet self-assurance, and speak up when they need to. They do tend to retreat in crowds or groups. It's a bit hard. There is that shyness, there is that reluctance to put themselves forward. So violet just gives them that little bit of an edge, that little bit of confidence. So, every now and again they can come up with their wonderful wisdom that these sensitive people do have, the people that respond well to violet. Finally, I'd like to talk about sunflower. And one that sometimes is not so much linked up with fear, but it is about that. It's about overcoming fear. It's about showing courage, and the courage to follow your convictions, and stand up and be counted, and say, listen, this is how it is. This is me, and this is warts and all, if you like. That's me, and feel the confidence to express that and display that. Sunflower sometimes can be, taken over by the peer group pressure. They can give over to that, and fit in, but it's not. They're not being true to themselves sometimes. So they're not going to be bullied. They're not going to be swayed from who they really are. And sunflower gives them that power of conviction. Using our example again, the child that perhaps goes to school, pretty good, but well behaved, they do the right thing, and they get in amongst this little group, and here we go. They'll follow the behaviours, some of the negative behaviours, and get caught up in that. And in some ways, just sunflower give them the courage to just stand up. No, I don't approve of that. I don't want to be part of that. This is me, and feel good about that, and feel strong that that's who I am, and I'm proud of who I am, and feel that, get that sort of strength, confidence and security back in the person, so they can present to the world the real them, which is what everyone really appreciates and wants to see. Great thing about, often with the sunflower, people have come back to me and said, and this is just an anecdotal thing, they've come back to me and said, oh, my back's feeling better. And I think it's just an example of how indirectly flower essences, even though they're working more on the emotional and your attitudes and the psychological side, it can have a tremendously important beneficial effect on the physical as well, indirectly. And I'm sure it's something to do with, in the sunflower case, of someone just feeling a bit more upright, standing up in life for themselves and feeling stronger and more secure. Anyway, on that note, thank you very much. Bye.